It continues.
That it does. So, fuck. Well, I might have gotten that in just under the radar. Yeah. So, God, the cyborg whale was terrible. Was that even the first one?
No, City in the Clouds was the first one.
City in the Clouds. Okay.
So there's this tornado.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And a dragon.
Yep. It's definitely a wyvern.
It's the power dragon.
It doesn't have front limbs, so it's a wyvern.
Look at you getting all technical.
I mean, if there's anything if there's one thing I'll be technical about, it would be about draconic creatures. But anyway, it shoots lightning beams that destroy electronics, and then if you get hit twice, it destroys your ship.
Yeah. You get one free one, and then
you get a warning shot, and the second one's set to kill.
And so yeah, they get sucked into the Cloud City.
Mm-hmm.
And Godzuki forgets he can fly.
That was clever.
Godzilla gets stuck in tumble mode for half the episode.
That was a very entertaining part. We cut back to it at least like 2 times.
Yeah, it was great. Just constantly tumbling in the tornado.
Yep.
They meet the Cloud people, who are from another dimension, who can only cross over when the storm is just right.
Yeah, it's kind of bullshit. But yeah, so there's this big city, and it's got generators, it's got gravity suck holes. It's weird. And it's like very poorly set up that they're actually villains.
They don't become villains until they go, oh, we can control the Godzilla.
Yeah.
Because we saw that the Godzilla can kill the power dragon.
Yeah.
So they're basically trying to run away from the power dragon, but the power dragon's already in this dimension.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know why they're like hanging out in this dimension, unless there's more power dragons.
I don't know. It's very confusing, but yeah, a bunch of literally He-Man was there. This is another one where the scale makes no sense. Unfortunately, we didn't get screenshots of it, but sometimes the power dragon is the size of people, or the people are the size of a power dragon.
And then sometimes the power dragon is the size of a Godzilla.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty dumb.
So everybody gets captured, except for Pete and Zuki. And then they're like, we brought rope, because we knew we would need rope.
And the captain clutches that rope like it's the greatest thing he's ever had. It's like, yes, this rope.
So they escape. They steal the thought amplifier that
gives the old man headaches, and he puts his hands over his ears so he can't hear you shout.
And so before they sent Godzilla into their dimension, so they used the thought amplifier to bring Godzilla back. And then
scientist lady puts on the thought thing, and it's dumb.
And then I think the power dragon messes with the storm, and
it neutralizes the storm somehow.
And then they all just go back home.
They just disappear, and then they're like, well, at least we have the thought amplifier, and then Godzuki sits on it.
And now we've got a donut.
Yep.
A donut that played no part in the cyborg whale.
Yes.
An episode I was looking forward to. And then I was just immediately disappointed.
Like, I was like, oh, they're going for like they get stuck inside the cyborg whale during a storm. And it short circuits the computer, and the computer starts acting on its own, and it like locks doors and stuff. And I'm like, oh, they're going for like a Space Odyssey kind of story, so they're gonna have to like they're gonna have to fight the computer. And then the computer catches on fire. And
As computers do when they get struck by lightning.
And then they put it out, and then the computer doesn't seem to play a part in the rest of it. It's very confusing.
So, Pete and Brock are now stuck on the cyborg whale. Which is making its return home to Hawaii. Which is going to beeline through everything.
Yes. Including an island.
Yeah.
A random island. Which Godzilla shows up and decides the best course of action is to dig a canal.
Because he tried grabbing it, and then it shot lasers at him, and he was like, that's hot.
Well, it shot lasers at its own tail.
And then he let go of it because he's like, spicy.
Yeah. And so he became a digging machine and created a canal through an island. God forbid anyone lived on it.
I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, no.
So basically the rest of the episode is just this thing just bum rushing towards wherever it's supposed to be going.
It takes out Godzilla several times.
Yeah.
Lays him out flat on his ass. And,
we didn't get very many screenshots for this one.
Because it sucked. This whole episode was, like, boring. Like, not enough dumb crap was happening, so,
basically, it ends by Godzilla just bending the
tail.
Yeah, and it just goes in circles until it runs out of fuel. And then they're like, we're going to put it back in the ocean.
Because that's smart. We forgot that it has mining lasers that literally can blow up rocks and was used to blow up a ship. We actually had a ship explosion.
Did it blow up the ship? I thought it... No,
it blew up the top of the ship, and then it ran into the ship and it exploded.
And then it stopped, and then it did stop, and then...
For a bit.
And then it's just like, kidding.
Nah, you guys suck. Yeah, so... That episode was terrible.
They put it back in the ocean, and then there were giant spiders in the Valley of the Giants.
Well, it started with giant ants.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to complete the highway, the Kilimanjaro highway or whatever. And so they blow up a bit of a mountain, and it opens up a cavern, and out come giant ants.
And they didn't call the EDF.
Nope. Instead, they called they didn't actually call the crew of the Calico, but for some reason they were heading there. They got the ship stuck, and they're like, we'll have to go the rest of the way on foot. And so they climb a waterfall, and they get into a valley that's basically just giant versions of small stuff, including a giant dragonfly-like thing.
I think it was a mosquito.
It didn't have the proboscis.
I don't care what it had. It died.
But yeah, no, it got stuck in a spider web, and then this giant fucking spider just comes out with eyes. I like to call it... What the hell did I call it? Did I call it Larry?
I think so.
So Lawrence the giant spider is here. He will be a recurring villain.
He makes horse noises when he moves. He gallops.
It's great. It's awesome.
He makes galloping noises when he's tying up Godzilla later.
Yep. Yeah. And so he gets beat up by Godzilla and decides to plot his revenge.
He's like the Fly from Micro Godzilla.
Pretty much. And pounces on Godzilla, gives him a nice bite, falls asleep, and proceeds to mummify him. As
while
spiders will do. Sure.
Those are the sound effects.
Damn it.
And then the next scene, our best friend, the Venus flytrap, just slides into their DMs.
Hi, I'm Greg. What's going on in this thread? Just literally just comes in immediately after the Spiga begins putting thread over Godzilla. We cut to Brock in his Brock pose with Godzuki, and just a Venus flytrap just enters from off screen and just goes, "Sup?" It does eventually try and eat Brock, and then Godzuki gets him out. It was kind of a boring part. Pete got sucked into an antlion den.
Before that, Pete, the captain, and Science Lady, They find a big flower, and then there's bees.
Oh God, yes, the bees.
And before so Pete's like, "Oh, look at that bee," and the captain's like, "What was what?" And then he's just picked up by the bee.
Just immediately, just a bee flies over and he's gone, and we're like, okay. And then another bee comes and grabs what's her face.
So they get taken to the beehive and put into a honeycomb.
I don't understand why.
Because bees take prisoners.
It's so fucking weird. But yeah, they get walled in with wax, and then Pete tries. That's when Pete falls into the antlion trap, and which was a pull of a creature that I was not expecting. I was not expecting to see an antlion of all things, but yeah. So
Brock and Godzuki show up to save him. Then they go in. They save the captain and.
Yeah, they smoke out all the bees.
Yeah, because apparently Godzuki's got that kind of power.
Not that much smoke. Been smoking. He's a chain smoker.
Yeah, but I don't think he's never had that kind of power. Like, I mean, he usually just makes puff rings.
Well, yeah, but
and a smoke screen in that one episode.
Yeah, no, his smoke powers have been increasing. For all we know, by the end of the series, he will be on par with Godzilla. I mean, we know when he's powered up, he can breathe fire.
Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna get there.
You don't know that.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So they get him out, and then they discover all the ants, and the ants are bringing back literal. Well, they're bringing back parts from where they were excavating. I was like, why are they bringing back like 2x2s?
Well, you know,
or 4x4s or whatever. And then I was like, oh, right, because they started bringing back crates, and I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, oh, no, those are coming from the dig site.
Yeah, they're bringing back the power tools.
Yep, no. That'll make their jobs infinitely easier. And then...
They find Godzilla mummified on the beach.
And they start trying to cut away giant spider web with...
With rocks.
Those didn't look like rocks, those look like stakes.
Oh, well.
I don't... Regardless, it was...
They were weird. Like, it's like steel.
Because it would be.
Yeah, I know.
But, yeah, so...
So, Godzuki, Science Lady, and Pete go off to find the exit. They get found by the ants, and then I think Godzilla just wakes up and he's like, you know what? It's time to leave. Laser beams his way out of his cocoon.
It's because the Spiga shows up.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then, the Spiga shows up, and that's when Godzilla wakes up and just laser beams himself out of it. Because the spider bite just magically healed.
Yeah, he was just feeling better. He only needed... He needed a small nap, and that was it.
Pretty much.
Either that or when we weren't looking, the cat sucked the venom out.
Awkward. I thought they were actually going to do that, but that didn't happen. So, yeah. Then...
So Godzuki gets trapped in the spider web. Godzilla comes over, pulls him out of the spider web, and then puts him down next to the giant ant, who is bigger than him.
Yes, but Godzuki was intimidating enough that it made it run away.
I mean, he shouldn't have been, but anyway.
And then round 3, the Spiga versus Godzilla, and he throws the Spiga, and suddenly God comes down. Wait. No, they find a tiny bee. Yeah, a regular-sized bee comes through, and then a God ray is coming out of like these weird... It's the pink clouds again. And it shines down on this bee and makes it a big bee. And we were just like, oh, God has declared that the insects shall rule the world. I guess that's what's happening. So that gets established, and then the Spiga gets like thrown... Into the light ray, and gets even bigger. And then it bites its own tongue.
I thought it bit its arm. Like I thought it like stuck its like weird crab claws out, and Godzilla's like, no. And he just put the arm in front of it. I thought it bit its own tongue, and I was like, spiders don't have tongues. They just... Well, regardless, the spider poisons itself, and it either dies or just
it just falls
goes
asleep.
into a coma, and then they leave.
Yeah, and then Godzilla like seals the hole with his rock healing lasers.
Somehow he didn't make a mirror out of it. I don't know how that one.
It's just his well,
Not
that
enough
was with
pressure.
fire. The mirror was made with fire. He
Didn't
used his laser eyes.
I thought he used his fire breath.
I don't fucking know.
I don't care. He used something, and then the day was saved.
Let's move on to Moonload.
So the moon, there was a load, and it came down from the moon.
Well, wait. First off, we have to start at the beginning. So there's going to be a lunar eclipse, which humanity has decided is the perfect opportunity to destroy the moon. And thus, they summon the underwater moon cannon.
To fire a load at the moon.
That's what we're going to call it. You can't disagree with us.
Unless you've seen it.
And if you have, why are you watching this? Because Lord knows you shouldn't care. So yes, the humans have pointed a cannon at the moon, but the moon is going to return fire and drops a mountain-sized rock.
A mountain-sized load.
A mountain-sized load onto the Earth, which creates a giant tidal wave, as it would do. But there are plenty of parts to an impact that would make no fucking sense. But regardless, and then the rock, we assume, proceeds to just grab everything and anything within like 100-mile radius. Just like, I'm taking your ship, I'm taking your plane,
I'm taking your other ship.
Yeah,
I'm taking your child.
Just everything. Everything's getting grabbed. For what purpose? Gravity
beams.
I don't fucking know.
Literal gravity beams.
No, but the purpose. Like, why does it need ships and planes?
Because they're shiny.
I don't understand.
This monster has, like, holes in it. It wants to fill the holes.
It's reverse Swiss cheese. The holes are the cheese, and then it's all darkness around it. I believe Jay called it a pro wrestler, which is
it was definitely a pro wrestler.
It was a man in a suit. We watched a giant Scooby-Doo villain.
It was basically a dude in a mocap suit.
That's pretty much.
It was a pro wrestler in a mocap.
That's what we're looking at. But yeah, so in retaliation for trying to blow up the moon monster is here. It has nipple beams and armpit beams, and we just don't question it because we don't care.
So Godzilla tussles with it. Then the eclipse happens and it disappears.
Yeah,
And they call up the Coast Guard. They're like, "Yo, you can rescue these people during the eclipse." And I'm like, "Isn't an eclipse only like a few minutes?
Yeah,
at most."
Yeah, but it's fine.
And then, like, 5 minutes later, the eclipse is gone, and Moon Man is back underwater.
And pulling things, everything and anything he can find. They devise a plan to defeat the moon monster, or what did they actually call it? The Gravity Goliath?
Yes! I was sitting here trying to think of what it was called, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, alright, so GG is pulling everything in, and they decide to use the underwater cannon base as bait. I'm going to keep calling it a cannon, and you cannot tell me otherwise.
It had cannons. It
did.
cannons.
It did, and it had the giant one for blowing up the moon. And so their plan is to get Brock to get in a submarine to lure GG to the base where they have lasers to defeat I don't know what. What was it for? Why did it have force beams to begin with? It's supposed to be a science lab.
They were discovering the science of force.
That's fucking dumb. But anyway.
So Pete's like, "Can I go along?" And they're like, "No." You know what you can do? You can check out the sub before Brock goes and does the adult things.
Indeed.
And so Pete gets in, he's just like, "I'm gonna hit the launch button. Oh no!
Oh no, I hit the launch button. Guys, I launched the sub. Even though I said I know how to pilot it, I don't know how to turn it around."
So he gets grabbed by the ghoulies.
By GG himself.
And then they're like, "Use the afterburner rockets." On the submarine, the afterburner rockets.
For anyone who knows how afterburners actually work, you probably know how stupid that is. But whatever. I guess you could put a form of rocket on a sub. It would just be dumb. And it certainly wouldn't be fire underwater. Most likely. But either way, he keeps getting grabbed. And it turns out, after Godzuki goes real low quality, after it grabs Pete again, and he grabs it, and he's stuck on a rock, trying to fight, trying to have a tug of war with our good pal GG. A reminder that GG is the Gravity Goliath. Just let that name sink in for a while. And then it pulls so hard that the rock breaks under his feet, which should have pushed it down, but instead pushes it the complete opposite way. Or not the complete opposite way, but 90 degrees off from where it should have gone. It cuts the beam, and thus frees Pete.
Yeah, you can stop a gravity beam with a rock.
Yeah. So that works out, and then they eventually end up luring the Gravity Goliath to the base, and it starts eating parts of the base, and
they shoot it with lasers.
Yeah, they shoot it with lasers, and it gets depressed.
And then Godzilla shows up, and he shoots it with lasers.
And he gets depressed again.
And I think he gets thrown... He gets thrown skyward in the water.
Yep, up into the moonbeam that was apparently there to reclaim our friend GG, who gets sucked up until he hits the city in the clouds and explodes.
Thus saving the day.
And the Gravity Goliath was no more. Fuck, that ending was hilarious.
Came out of nowhere.
I thought it was just gonna go through the clouds, but no, it blew up. Oh god. Yeah, so that was that. That was Moonload. I'm not gonna lie, this was a rough session.
Yeah. It wasn't very good.
There weren't a lot of good screen caps. I mean, there were some that I really wanted, but we were too tired to care about grabbing some of the single frame ones. Because they're not on the quality of missing parts of Godzuki or Headless Pete.
And it doesn't help that it's also a low quality thing, so it's not even if we do get it, it still kind of looks like trash. So it's what's the point?
Yeah.
And we've been trying to steer clear of faces, because you get the point. They make stupid faces a lot.
But some of them are hysterical.
Some of them are quality stupid faces.
Yes.
Others of them are just yeah, we know Pete's gonna make a dumb face.
Yeah. No, we forgot about the part where they get grabbed by the gravity beams. And the ship moves so fast that the captain has to fight with the throttle as everyone else makes concerned faces and he begins to scream. That'll be...
at least he didn't plank.
I guess not. But yeah, we'll see you guys for the final session, assuming we're not dead.
I can't believe the final power hour is nigh.
I'm ready to die. Let's get this over with.
See you guys tomorrow.
See ya.